So, have you ever wondered what happens when the ultimate facade of wealth and status just, you know, crumbles overnight?
Oh, yeah, like when the money evaporates completely.
Exactly. The invitations stop, and suddenly all your elite friends vanish into thin air. Who is the one person that actually steps up to save you?
It's a terrifying thought, honestly.
It really is. And today, we are answering that exact question. Welcome to the deep dive. We're really thrilled you're sitting in on this conversation with us.
We definitely are.
And before we get too far into it, if you enjoy unpacking these kinds of powerful narratives, we want to humbly ask you to subscribe to the Simplified Summary YouTube channel.
Please do.
Yeah, hit that like button and, share your valuable comments below the video as you listen. It really, really helps us keep bringing you these deep dives.
That makes a huge difference.
It does. So our mission today is to explore a truly profound short story. It's called Momta, which translates to maternal love. And it's written by the legendary Hindi author Munshi Premchand.
Right, it's a brilliant piece of literature. It's actually featured in his classic collection, Mansarovar Part 5.
Yeah.
And, what makes Premchand such a master here is how he uses a single family's financial crisis to expose the architectural flaws of a whole society.
Oh, absolutely.
We're looking at the mechanics of performative activism, the psychological shock of sudden ruin, and ultimately the irrational, unconditional power of a mother's sacrifice.
Yeah, and as we go through this, I want you, the listener, to really reflect on the true value of authentic relationships versus superficial status in your own life.
Yeah.
Because even though this story was written decades ago, it just maps perfectly onto modern human
It
behavior.
really does. It's timeless.
So it all starts with our protagonist, right?
Yeah.
A man named Babu Ramrakhsh. And he is living this incredibly curated life in Delhi.
Heavily curated. I mean, he represents the ultimate upwardly mobile, westernized elite of his time.
Right.
And we really have to look at the sociological mechanism at play here. In colonial era India, for a certain class of men, mimicking the colonizers wasn't just like a hobby.
Right, it was a whole lifestyle.
Exactly. It was a survival strategy for business and social standing, but it often morphed into this deep, internalized prejudice against their own roots.
Wow. Yeah, that makes so much sense of his behavior when you frame it like that.
Mm-hmm.
Because he's, throwing these lavish parties, playing tennis, hosting these huge gatherings where the tea and the card games just never stop.
He's the guy.
Right. He's the guy everyone wants to be seen with. He's built this incredibly polished, modern bubble. And he's even the secretary of a local society dedicated to social reform, which, looks great on paper.
Oh, it looks fantastic on paper. As secretary, Ramrakhsh is passing all these grand resolutions to ostensibly help marginalized communities.
Like who, specifically?
Well, the text specifically mentions his advocacy for the Chamars and Kahars. And when his servant gets sick, he makes this highly visible show of bringing in Christian doctors from the mission to treat him.
Got it.
Yeah, he ensures the public sees him as this beacon of progressive generosity.
But the reality of that generosity is it's completely hollow, isn't it?
Totally hollow.
Because when the Festival of Holi rolls around, we see the absolute limit of his supposed tolerance.
We do. When the revelers are out celebrating Holi's in the streets, he doesn't view it as a vibrant cultural tradition at all.
What does he see it as?
He views it as a noisy disruption to his sanitized, westernized aesthetic. So rather than embracing the community he claims to advocate for, he actually uses his societal influence to have thousands of regular people arrested.
Wait, thousands?
Yeah.
Just for celebrating?
Literally just for singing and playing drums. He turns a festival of joy into a day of mourning for hundreds of families.
That's a chilling detail, honestly.
It is.
He's writing these grand reform resolutions in his fancy office, but he's actively weaponizing the police against people for celebrating their own culture. It reminds me so much of modern-day performative social media activism.
Oh, that's a great comparison.
Right. Like, posting the beautifully designed infographic to look virtuous to your elite friends. But in real life, your actual policies or behaviors are harming the exact demographics you claim to support online.
That is the perfect modern equivalent. He uses progressive values as an accessory. It's like a badge of superiority rather than a core belief system.
Yeah.
And this hypocrisy isn't just contained to his public PR, it's the defining feature of his private life as well.
Right. The family stuff.
Yeah, the way he treats his own family is where the true depth of his superficiality is exposed.
This is the part of the narrative that really grounds his cruelty for me. He actually exiled his own widowed mother,
Yeah, he did, just to please his modern, status-obsessed wife.
who I guess felt that traditional ways clashed with her sophisticated aesthetic.
Exactly, she couldn't stand it. So Ramraksha kicked his mother out of their house. He set up a 10,000 rupee maintenance fund for her and shipped her off to Ayodhya.
And we should probably clarify what sending her to Ayodhya actually means in this context.
Yeah.
Because it's not like he just bought her a nice condo in a neighboring town.
Not at all. In this era, sending a widowed mother to a holy city like Ayodhya wasn't just a physical relocation, it was a societal exile.
Wow.
Widows were often expected to go there to essentially disappear into austere religious devotion, completely removed from the lives and the upward mobility of their families.
So out of sight, out of mind.
Literally. Ramraksha essentially paid 10,000 rupees to erase his mother from his aesthetic life. He valued the sleek, modern image of his household way over his foundational family bonds.
So he's built this pristine, modern bubble by entirely alienating the traditional world. He's locked up the locals, he's exiled his mother.
Yeah.
But the great irony of this story is that he's actually using that very same traditional world to bankroll his modern bubble, right?
Precisely. The modern facade is completely dependent on traditional money. And that introduces the catalyst for his ruin.
Seth Gurdharlal.
Exactly. Seth Gurdharlal.
So Seth Gurdharlal is a distant relative of Ramraksha, but sociologically, he is his polar opposite.
Completely different universe.
Right. While Ramraksha is playing tennis and drinking tea with the colonial elite, Gurdharlal is waking up at dawn, bathing in the Yamuna River, and personally caring for his cows.
Yeah, he represents the tactile, traditional Indian values that Ramraksha is trying so desperately to distance himself from.
Yet, Ramraksha has absolutely no problem taking his money.
None whatsoever.
He frequently borrows large sums from Gurdharlal to fund this lavish Delhi lifestyle. And eventually, as all lenders do, Gurdharlal asks for his money back.
And Ramraksha, true to form, just arrogantly brushes him off.
Of course he does.
He acts like the request for repayment is an insult to his status. Like, how dare you ask me for money?
And feeling disrespected, Gurdharlal doesn't just let it slide. He initiates legal action to have Ramraksha detained for the debt.
Yeah, he goes straight to the authorities.
Now, taking a step back, a modern reader might look at this and think Gurdharlal is being unnecessarily vindictive, calling in a massive, life-ruining debt just because a relative gave him some attitude seems, I don't know, a bit extreme.
Now, it definitely looks extreme through a purely modern transactional lens, where debt is just numbers on a spreadsheet.
Right.
But we have to understand the sociology of this specific era and culture. In Gurdharlal's world, respect is currency.
Oh, that makes sense.
A man's word, his honor, and how he treats his elders and relatives, that's the absolute foundation of societal trust. Ramraksha didn't just delay a payment. He deeply humiliated a relative who had been quietly sustaining him.
Right, he bit the hand that fed him.
Yes,
Publicly.
exactly. But Gurdharlal's legal action serves a really crucial narrative purpose here, too. It forces an audit.
Oh, right.
It forces Ramraksha to actually look at his own financial ledgers for once.
Which begs the question, how on earth does a man operating at this level of high society not know he is completely broke?
Well, this is the ultimate danger of performative living. We see the mechanism of his ignorance clearly here. He spent 100% of his energy managing his public PR.
The tennis matches, the Reform Society meetings.
The aesthetic of his home, all of it. And 0% managing his actual foundational wealth.
Wow.
He operated under the assumption that projecting the look of wealth would naturally sustain the reality of it. The facade just became his entire reality.
So when he finally opens the books to just, pay Gurdharlal off and make the annoyance go away, the shock is absolute.
Oh, it's total devastation.
His investments have completely failed. His businesses are bankrupt. Clients owe him money they can't or won't pay. The bank accounts are essentially empty.
Everything is gone.
The arrogant facade shatters in an instant. He simply cannot pay.
And the consequences of this realization are swift. Ramraksha is humiliated and physically detained by the authorities due to this unpaid debt.
Right.
And the news of his bankruptcy spreads through his social circles immediately.
And you would think, in a moment of catastrophic crisis like this, a husband and wife would close ranks.
You would hope so.
You would hope your partner would be your rock, helping to navigate the legal reality. But his modern, elite wife, the exact woman he exiled his mother to appease, has the most destructive reaction imaginable.
She really does. She doesn't reach out to lawyers. She doesn't attempt to liquidate assets. She doesn't even comfort her husband.
What does she do?
Instead, she sits down and writes a letter to Seth Gurdharlal.
And it is not a plea for mercy or an offer to negotiate a payment plan. It is a venomous, abusive letter.
Highly abusive.
She curses Gurdharlal's entire family. She explicitly wishes for his lineage to be destroyed. It's like an animal puffing itself up to look bigger when it's cornered.
That's a great way to put it.
She has zero actual leverage, no money, and no legal standing to help her husband, so she uses the only weapon she has left, this venomous class supremacy. She weaponizes her pride to hide her total powerlessness.
That is a phenomenal way to frame it. She uses cruelty as a defense mechanism against her own irrelevance.
Right.
And this letter, it fundamentally changes the landscape of the conflict. Gurdharlal, despite initiating the legal action, might have been open to a mediated settlement.
Oh, really? You think so?
Yeah, I mean, if Ramrakhsh had humbled himself, or if the wife had come to him respectfully to appeal to their family ties, an arrangement could likely have been made.
Like a repayment plan or something.
Exactly, but the letter makes that impossible.
Completely impossible. It's like throwing gasoline on a fire.
Yes. The wife's letter shifts Gurdharlal's motivation from standard business anger to pure, deeply personal vengeance.
Wow.
By attacking his lineage, she has attacked his core identity. He is now obligated to destroy Ramrakhsh simply to protect his own family's honor from these curses.
And meanwhile, Ramrakhsh is sitting in a holding cell, waiting for his elite friends to bail him out.
Good luck with that.
Right. Where are the tennis partners? Where are the fellow social reformers he passed all those grand resolutions with?
They are gone. And it just exposes the inherent fragility of transactional relationships. Those people were allied with his status, his wealth, and his proximity to power. They were never allied with him as a human being.
So the second the status vanished, their presence vanished.
Yep. He is abandoned, completely doomed by his own fake wealth and his wife's blinding pride.
It is a bleak, claustrophobic situation. He has alienated the traditional world, and the modern world has totally discarded him.
Truly rock bottom.
But this is where we reach the turning point of the deep dive. This is where the title of the story, Momta, takes center stage.
Here we go.
Word of Ramraksh's arrest and absolute ruin eventually travels outside of Delhi. It reaches the city of Ayodhya. It reaches his estranged mother.
The very mother he banished to maintain his modern lifestyle.
Yes.
The woman he deemed too traditional, too unrefined for his curated life.
She hears the news, and she doesn't hesitate. She immediately travels back to Delhi. But crucially, she doesn't go to the jail to weep over her son.
No, she doesn't.
She goes straight to Seth Gurdharlal's house. She walks in, bows to him as an elder, and starts pleading for her son's release.
And Gurdharlal, while he respects her age and her traditional demeanor, is still burning with the vengeance ignited by her daughter-in-law.
Of course he is.
So to explain exactly why he cannot possibly show mercy, he takes out that abusive letter. He shows it to the mother and essentially says, look at the venom in this house.
Oh.
Look at what your daughter-in-law wishes upon my family and my children. How can I possibly let this man go?
And this brings us to the central emotional axis of the story. She is sitting there looking at this horrible, venomous letter written by the exact woman who replaced her.
The woman who caused her exile to Ayodhya in the first place.
Right. She has every logical right in the world to stand up, say, you reap what you sow, and walk right back to her quiet life. Why on earth does she stay and fight for a son who threw her away?
Because of Momta.
Momta.
Yes. Premchand uses this concept not just as a casual affection, but as an irrational, deeply binding, almost cosmic force. Momta operates completely outside the bounds of logic, economic fairness, or even basic self-respect. Premchand captures this force beautifully in the text when he writes, "A mother's heart cannot let go of her son's love. Even God has no control over it."
That's powerful.
Yeah.
She's trading her literal survival for a son who wouldn't even let her live in his house. It completely breaks the economic logic of the entire story.
It shatters it.
Throughout this whole narrative, every single character is hoarding status, hoarding wealth, protecting their pride, and she just walks in and gives it all away.
She takes out the passbook, the 10,000 rupee maintenance fund her son had given her to go away.
Her life savings.
Her entire life savings. It is her only security against starvation in a world that offers no safety net for discarded widows. And she offers every single penny of it to Gurdharlal to clear the debt.
And her only condition is staggering. She doesn't ask for the money back later. She doesn't demand her son grovel. She just asks that Gurdharlal make her son a manager in his business, simply so Ramrakhsh has a way to survive and feed himself now that his fortune is gone.
It forces Gurdharlal to witness a level of selflessness that basically defies human nature.
Yeah.
Seth Gurdharlal is a hard, traditional businessman. Just moments ago, he was driven by absolute vengeance. But watching this elderly woman surrender her only lifeline for a son who discarded her, it entirely disarms him.
The text describes his reaction with such a vivid metaphor, right? Water boils over and the scone melts.
The stone melts. The rigidity of his anger simply cannot hold up against the sheer weight of her Momta.
It's beautiful.
He is profoundly moved. He returns the passbook to her, outright refusing to take a mother's survival money. He agrees to forgive the grudge, forgive the debt, and help Ramrakhsh get back on his feet.
Wow.
Not because Ramrakhsh deserves it, but solely out of pure reverence for the mother's devotion.
The irony is just monumental. Ramrakhsh spent his entire adult life building this fortress of fake wealth. He curated these elite, modern friends. He married this fiercely proud, status-obsessed wife.
Yep.
And when the walls finally breached, none of that modern armor saved him. He is rescued entirely by the traditional, discarded mother he tried to erase.
It's the ultimate vindication of authentic, rooted connection over performative aesthetic status.
It really is.
But what makes Premchand a master storyteller, and what elevates this from a simple fable to brilliant literature, is the aftermath. He does not give us a simple saccharine ending.
No, and thank goodness he doesn't, because, you almost expect the Hollywood ending here.
Right, the big reunion.
You expect the son to get out of jail, have a tearful realization that he was a fool, run to his mother, the wife apologizes, and they all live happily ever after in a reformed household.
But human nature rarely works that way, and Premchand knows it. We get a highly realistic, bittersweet resolution. The mother successfully saves her son's life and secures his future. But the moment she ensures his safety, she turns around and goes right back to Ayodhya.
She chooses to return to exile.
Yes. And she firmly refuses to ever see her daughter-in-law's face again.
It's a masterclass in the difference between forgiveness and access.
Oh, absolutely.
She completely forgives her son's debt, she secures his physical safety, but she permanently revokes their access to her peace. It proves that unconditional love doesn't have to mean unconditional presence.
That's a profound way to look at it.
Like, she will give her last penny to save her son from ruin because she is his mother. But she will not subject herself to the daily toxicity, the performative shallowness, and the disrespect of that Delhi household.
It elevates her character immensely. She isn't a passive martyr absorbing abuse. She's a woman of immense dignity and agency.
Yeah, she really is.
She dictates the absolute terms of her love. She saves him, but she refuses to be consumed by his toxic world.
It leaves you with such a profound sense of respect for her. And that brings us to the core takeaway of our deep dive today. Premchand's Momta is a razor-sharp reminder that authentic, unconditional love will always outlast superficial wealth and performative status.
Every time.
When the chips are truly down, it's not the people you impress at dinner parties or the followers you gain online who save you. It's the people who love you unconditionally. Often, it's the very people we take for granted while we're busy looking upward.
It forces a necessary audit of our own lives, doesn't it? Are we investing our limited time and energy into building a fragile facade? Or are we investing in the deep, unglamorous relationships that actually sustain us when the aesthetic crumbles?
I want you to reflect on that in your own life right now. Who is the person providing you with that unconditional support? And are you taking that person for granted while you chase the approval of strangers or colleagues or a social media algorithm?
It's so easy to do.
We all fall into that trap of valuing the shiny and new over the steady and true. But as we saw with Ramrakhsh, the shiny facade is incredibly fragile. It only takes one misstep, one Seth Gurdharlal calling in a debt, to shatter the whole illusion.
The modern world encourages us to build our lives like Ramrakhsh, focusing entirely on the public ledger while ignoring the private one. But true security only exists in the latter.
So we want to leave you with a final provocative thought to mull over today. Building on everything we've just unpacked, if your bank account's empty tomorrow and your social status vanished in an instant, who would be the one person standing at the door ready to bail you out?
And more importantly, how long has it been since you thanked them?
Because in the end, that is the only wealth that actually matters.
It really is.
Thank you so much for joining us for this deep dive into Munshi Premchand's Momta. Just a final reminder, please subscribe to the Simplified Summary channel, drop a like on this video, and share your thoughts on the story in the comments. We would love to hear who the Momta is in your life or how you interpret the mother's final decision. Keep learning, keep reflecting, and we'll see you on the next deep dive.